And we are live for Pontiac Power Hour, episode 26. Thank you guys for joining us. I am Buff from Buff's Garage.
I'm Ray from Punisher Lamont's Garage.
And Ray, did I see something from Holly, like a write-up on you today?
Well, there's something about my car on their page. I really don't know how it got there.
Well,
It's pretty
it's
cool
cool to
though.
be, hanging out with famous people and all, so I'm a little envious. I don't have
Yeah.
my car on the Holly website, just saying.
Well, I don't like I said, I don't remember ever filling anything out, but that's cool.
But there it is. Well, I
I
want to hit the chat real quick. I know that Hunter was in here early, but of course, with StreamYard and YouTube, it just kind of goes away. So I'll try to catch everybody as I see them. I see Danny Boyd is here, Hunter Sand Mountain Ballistics, Colleen Tebow. Let's see, the old Raj Cam 80. Let's see here. Mr. Polo C4 is here, climbing up in the subs, I see. And keep going. There's Mongrel's Garage. I knew he was in here. Pure Pontiac Garage is here. Two Stall Garage made it tonight. Ugly Truck Experience. Welcome, guys. It's cold.
Did you get Danny Boyd?
Danny Boyd was our first one tonight.
Oh.
Scarlet Four-Eyed Kudo is here. Cousin Mike is here. JB's Little Shop. He was preoccupied. Yeah, putting stickers on his door. He's got quite the whole collection on the door there.
What the buck? We got Buck in here.
Buck does it. All right. All right, we'll try to catch up as everybody trickles in. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but you got fun stuff to talk about. I mean, First and foremost, I'm exhausted. It has been a very busy week. I'm obviously at work right now, so if I get called out, guys, I apologize. I know that Ray can handle it.
Well, now that the show started and you already did the intro and stuff, we are good to go.
Oh, look at that. We got Lars in here. LNA Auto Works made it. I don't want to hear it, Mongrels. I feel like it's negative 28 where I'm at, but I think it's like just 28.
I'll say he's up there in Canada where it's really cold.
Right. Yeah. Well, it feels cold here, and that's cold enough for me. I don't need it any colder.
Hey,
he could hit the button.
I think I figured it out.
Oh no. Danny Boyd's kid fell down the well. Well, anyway, it's been a very long week, and this week we did not bring a special guest in because we felt like we were missing out on some of that Pontiac history that you guys have fell in love with from the beginning of the show. And it's not that we don't have guests lined up. We have some really great guests lined up, but we don't have them for you tonight. It's us, and we're just going to sit and talk about some of the stuff that, we thought was interesting.
So I seen you had a new video out where you fired up the old Grand Prix.
So a Pontiac Grand Prix has kind of been sitting on the back burner because of winter, and sitting on air ride, that means it's sitting on the ground. But I decided this summer I wanted running, driving, cruising down the road. And the best way to get started on that was to sort out the original wiring, because the car runs and drives as an LS because that's separate. So I started doing this connecting of the old and the new, and that's where it's going to get complicated. But we do have it set up now. You can start it with the key, and that's one step forward.
Yeah, there you go. So
did I mention Jason's Garage made it in here? I saw that. John Wilburn. Wow.
So I noticed you even had a hood.
I always had a hood. I just didn't have it on the car. And while it's on the car, it's not, it doesn't fit. I may have to do some work to get that intake down, and then the hood will fit great. Everything still lines up. Ooh, man. Mr. Polo. So he asked if I'm going to make it to some meets this summer. I will tell you that if I get the lights working, the essential ones, brakes and all that kind of stuff, I could probably only drive it during the day just to be comfortable. But if I can do all of that, then I'll get it inspected get my tag for it, then yeah, I'm going to drive it everywhere. I'll drive it to work every day if I can.
So Mr. Polo C4 and I signed up for a car show in Springfield, Midwest Muscle. It's a limited spot show. I think there was only 500 spots or something like that. So we're going to be doing that pretty soon. It's a American V8 only. I think V8 or V10. No 4-cylinder, no V6.
Right.
And Mr. Fierro guy was kind of butthurt because you can't take a V6.
Well, it's a really cool V6 though.
They're trying to keep all the V6 Camaros and Mustangs and the lame cars nobody really wants to look at anyway.
I get that. So and no, LNA Auto Works, I will not cut a hole in my original 46,000 mile hood. I know it's rusty and ugly. If somebody wants to donate a hood, I'll cut a hole in it. But I would rather just get an intake that brings everything down a little bit, and then the hood will fit. Like I literally only need about, never mind, I'm going to say it, but just about that much.
So if you went with like one of those Holley aluminum intakes, and it would work?
Yep. Just lower it down a little bit.
There you go.
Shave the intake. No, I don't really like to shave, so we're not going to do that.
I've seen where guys do that on these newer engines, like a lot of them, like the Mopar guys and the LS guys. Screw that. That is way too much work.
I look at it this way. I really hope to get a partnership going with Holley just for a few parts. And that doesn't mean it's free. It just means it's heavily discounted. But once I get that back and forth established with them, then, I mean, I already know somebody who's got Holley's attention. So maybe I can say, hey, I know Ray, the Punisher Le Mans guy. Maybe you guys can give me a discount.
So I'm kind of in contact with QA1 also. I'm trying to get a sponsorship on suspension parts on my car. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that'd work.
I told them, I said, I have that UMI sticker on there. I'd be glad to take it off there and put a QA1 on there if you guys want to sponsor some suspension parts.
For sure. Our friends at Perpetual Projects made it in. I see Nathan's Mopar Garage rolled in. And I think that's it. Cool. But tonight we are going to be talking about, if you guys didn't see the title, we're going to be talking about the other Tri-5. Tri-5s are really popular right now. And especially if you're a fan of, what's his name? 12 Volt David Newburn. He's just all about the Tri-5s right now. So we came up with the other Tri-5. Personally, my favorite of the Tri-5s.
One of our previous guests had a Tri-5 also.
Yep.
But it has a big Hemi stuffed in it.
We all have our differences. Tri-Power, yeah. Well, sort of. I mean, you could get Tri-Power if you had the right ordering capabilities. But I personally just love it because they got the big belts all the way down the front of those cars. And a buddy of mine in Alaska had one that he inherited from his dad. And he talked several times about getting rid of it. And I'm like, dude, you cannot get rid of that car. And he hasn't. He still has it to this day.
See, I would love to have an old, I'm not a convertible guy, but I would love to have something like that just to cruise in.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's just cool. I wouldn't change nothing about it.
For sure. I mean, nothing against the muscle car, but if you think about the weight distribution, the size, the power plants, everything that went into these cars, they could arguably be called the first attempt at muscle cars, because this was just after the war. Things were starting to come around and the designs were getting a little bit better. And for sure,
you can almost picture that car in the 1950s neighborhood with, the new houses in the background and all that stuff. Families cooking out. They're just cool.
Yeah, absolutely. LNA Auto Works said they didn't come from the factory with good body lines. You have to buy a box of shims and call it a day.
That is true.
You know, owner customization is just going to make it better.
If you ever look at like pictures of original, especially the 70s, like the unibody F bodies and the Novas and stuff, man, the body line sucked on those cars. Like the door gaps, the fender gaps, the hood gaps, everything is like, man, was this car made at 5 o'clock on Friday, or what the heck is going on with this thing?
Right. Well, the big thing with these is, you know, they came out of that post 1940s war era and just decided to take it to the next level. And yes, of course, everyone knows the Chevy side of this, but Pontiac had their own version using their own power plants, and that's what we're talking about tonight.
So, yeah, in 1955, they got rid of the straight 8, went to the V8. Actually, I think it was earlier than that, but so now you got the straight 8's gone, you got the V8, more compact, you can have a shorter hood, which you can tell.
Right.
Boxier lines, but they still have curves. And I really, the 50s era is probably one of my favorite classic cars. I mean, I love muscle cars, don't get me wrong, but as far as classics, like the Chevys, the Fords, the Chryslers, the Cadillacs, everything had curves and body lines.
Yep. They got those cool little, you know, I just love the silver streaks. The big, to me, it reminds me of an old, you know, chest or something with the big leather straps down the front.
Oh, yeah.
Just love it. L&A Auto Works wants to see one lifted on some 37s. Hey, you know, it's YouTube. You never know. We might do that.
I bet the Google machine could find you one.
I'm sure. So, yeah, 55, you said they switched out from the straight 8 to the V8, the Strato Street Power V8.
It was like 287 cubic inch.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
I think.
4.7 liter, 287.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, such a beast.
But
if you knew the right guy, you could order that in a Tri-Power.
Yeah. But I like the 55, but I think I like the 56 better.
Do we got a 56 in here?
We should have. Let's see.
I didn't label them. Oh, look at that. Dudes with wrenches.
The purple one was a 56. I had to look at the pictures, guys. I apologize. That
one?
That's a 56. I like that bumper.
Yep. That's really pretty.
Because to me, that's kind of a mix of a 56 Chevy and a 58 Impala, actually. Because that body line on the back where it kind of splits and goes down a little bit. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the 58 Impala. I really like those.
I do too. Hippie Miller made it in.
Well, welcome. Testa Speed Shop. Was he already here? Nope.
Welcome, Testa. So yeah, that's a 56. What did they do different in 56?
Let me see.
So many differences. No, so 56 was revised, heavier looking bumpers, which you talked about. The vertical slash went into the back and opened up. And then that was pretty much it for 56. But then by 57, they came out with a high performance car, the Star Chief Custom Bonneville, which was introduced as part of its division's head's push to raise the mark out of the doldrums. The silver streaks running down the hood were dropped for the new Starflight design, and all the gauges were replaced in an oval on the dash, and the side trim had a missile-shaped spear in the front.
Didn't they come with the 347?
Yep, 347 cubic inch. Yep.
And I think that's when when you could start getting the Tri-Power. See, that's a good looking car.
Yep. I do enjoy it. Okay, so this would be the 57.
That's okay.
Because 57 lost the hood things.
Okay,
The
yeah, you're
silver
right.
streaks. Yeah.
Okay.
Still love it though. It's absolutely beautiful.
Sorry, guys. I really am tired.
It's not like you worked all week and then you come in to do our show.
Man, it's been a rough week. Things have been crazy at work. I've got a lot going on. Everything from the SHOT Show in Vegas is coming to fruition at one time. So it's like,
well, that's a good thing. It's happening all at once.
it is, man. But geez, I don't like being stressed out.
Tri-5 Chevy had 3 different rear wheel openings each year. That's a lot of stamping to do to get it, which car is which.
Hey, look at
Unfinished
this.
Project made it here.
This guy right here, Jeremiah, is a guy I work with.
Awesome. Welcome, Jeremiah. I saw 38 POS racings here. Everybody's just rolling in. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Dudes with Wrenches wants to know about parts that shared. I don't think they shared any.
Not even a frame?
Maybe, but I couldn't tell you. I honestly.
Yeah, I don't see in my notes where they shared a lot.
Dude said they shared glass.
Ah, there you go.
See, I wasn't sure if the doors was the same because they kind of look alike, but
right. I figured some of the stampings were similar, but obviously they've got their own look to them. That's for sure.
Okay, Danny Boyd said the doors were shared with the Chevy. DD Speed Shop used some. Oh, that's right, he did.
You guys are paying attention. It's not that I didn't watch that. I just didn't remember that. Possibly the trunk lid. See, those are all the little things that you can, kind of put your own spin on. But, the hoods, the fenders, all that, it's got to be its own thing.
Right. And we all know that as much as Pontiac guys don't like Chevys, that they've always shared the same parts, like a lot of the same parts. And it's just one of them things. Like you get into the second gens. Well, actually, there's a whole conversation about the new Trans Am specialties from Florida. They make the Camaro kits into Trans Ams.
Yep.
They're all like, it's just a I'm like, okay, so since 1967, the F-body Camaro and the F-body Firebird have always shared most of the same parts.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just the same thing. It's probably what they would do now if Pontiac was still in business. If we're
for sure. Tim Windsor made it in here.
Hello, Tim.
Yep, I actually know those two brothers, and at some point, I'd like to have them on the show. If you guys wouldn't boo them off the show and entertain the two owners of the Trans Am Specialties down in Florida, we could have them on our show, and you guys can ask them all the Pontiac / conversion questions you want. I mean, they're making a new Chevelle. Everybody wanted one. They made one. Everybody wanted the Trans Am. They built one. So,
I think we should just be happy that they're keeping the car alive.
They're keeping it alive.
They bought the rights to the Trans Am, so they, they're building the Trans Am. I would drive one.
If they invite me down to Florida this summer, I'll be going to Florida to drive a 1,500 horsepower Trans Am. I'm just going to do it.
Right.
And Mongols is right. They have a whole division that does restorations of original Pontiacs. Then they build the new Trans Ams. And then, of course, they have their Chevelle division now. They do all kinds of stuff. They have their own TV show. They do a lot. Good dudes. They've been super awesome to me, and I can't wait to bring them on. I just don't want to bring them on and everybody boo them off because they're not real Pontiacs. You know what? They do the real work too.
Hunter, I hate to tell you, but he has ridden in many fast Pontiacs over the years. I may have an LS swap Pontiac now, but it's my only one I had.
Right.
Matter of fact, I had a 1980 Trans Am with a 400 Pontiac in it, and it spun a rod bearing on the way home.
I mean, that does happen.
Yeah, it sucked. I bought it, new motor, everything. Made it halfway home, lost oil pressure, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So going back to these cars, you know, if you look, no, it's fine. If you look back to the, you know, the original wheelbase, length, track width, the weight, everything, it seemed like the 55 to 57 kind of nailed the sweet spot with 115-inch wheelbase, 58-inch track, and the weight in the 3,000-pound range. And all you got to do is put some power in it, and you got kind of the formula for an early muscle car type thing, early setup for a muscle car. And I think that's the thing that people didn't think about. I mean, obviously, two-lane blacktop, that kind of stuff, everybody knows that Tri-5s can be fast. But when we think of muscle cars, we always lean towards that Pontiac in the 64 range. But these guys were trying to put power and put it to the ground in the early 50s and late 50s. So
that, and I mean, they was really getting into NASCAR with these cars too.
Yep. Which is why you could get the bigger engine with the Tri-5 or the Tri-Power in them. It was strictly supposed to be a special order for NASCAR and drag racing from the dealer. You could special order it. I mean, obviously, if you could get it and put it on yourself, that's different. But you could get it, but it was supposed to be special order only, not supposed to be on the street cars.
Right. And you know, we went through that in the 60s where they said, hey, you can't use this motor in this car. And then they pretty much gave them the big middle finger and said, we're going to anyway.
We do what we want. We'll just make it a package. That works.
And Dude is 100% right. They made so many more Chevys than they did the Pontiacs or Oldsmobiles or Buicks. That's why they're so popular. I think the 55 Chevy was lighter than the 55 Pontiac, because it was more bare bones.
The Pontiac had to have, you know, more extras, you know, on the car. Yeah. It had to a little bit more, you know, level up. I mean, it wasn't an Oldsmobile or a Buick, but it's a Pontiac.
Right, and that's exactly it. The 55 Chevy was stripped down, whereas the 55 Pontiac had the chrome strips on the hood, you know, chrome everywhere, because they was always more like cushy and more elegant than the Chevys.
For sure. All right, we've got a rivalry going with Mr. Polo C4 against that Fiero guy. He wants you to unsubscribe right now from that Fiero guy, just so he can pass him. Now, we've seen what happens when you unsubscribe somebody. It ends up, you know, giving them a huge boost. Then they get a big ego, and then they go start their own show on a competing night. Oh, same as ours. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, nobody's watching that show, just saying. Let's see. Mongrel says we'll put a restrictor on that car. Yeah, that's it. We won't tell the dealers how to tell people how to pop it off. Yep, it'll be fine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, where's Dakota? Dakota could just unsub him a lot with his 15 different channels. Not that we endorse that. We don't endorse that.
No.
Anyway, where are we at with these beautiful cars? Okay, so we hit the 55. We talked a little bit about the 56. Digging into 57 because, you know, 57, everyone thinks of the 57 Chevy Bel Air. I mean, growing up, that was supposed to be the epitome of the cool cars. And you see one out in the wild with its gold trim, and you think, wow, that's something. Oh, there he is. I speak about him, and there he is. Welcome, Dakota. So yeah. Anyway,
I
I have to say I didn't see a lot of the Pontiacs running around, and just like dude said, that's why you didn't see them. There's so many Chevys and not as many Pontiacs.
I actually don't like the 57 Chevy. Um, they're okay. I like the 55, 56. And I don't like the big wings, which is what I like about the Pontiac because they don't have those.
Right.
Um,
There she is.
I mean,
She's not quite as pronounced.
no, it's got some. I mean, you can still see the same style line as like the Chevy, but it's just not there. It's got a better grill. I mean, it's just
Right.
a cooler car. The Pontiacs always were.
I'm just looking through these notes, man. There's so much information about these cars.
Right.
So that engine that we talked about in 55, that V8 that made its debut, pushing out the straight eight, was Pontiac's first overhead valve V8. It was slightly delayed behind Chevrolet's small block, um, but like Hunter was saying, you could get this well optioned engine with a good hydromatic transmission instead of the old 2-speed power glide. Um, get 173 or 180 horsepower out of that 287, and that's a lot in a 3,000 pound car. That's pretty decent.
And then in 56, they upped the cubic inches a little bit to 316. Um, sorry. I had a thought and it went away.
Oh, that happens.
Like I said, I apologize, guys. I am extremely tired.
So dudes could have bought him a 55 ambulance. That would have been amazing. Where'd that 55 go? No. That one. Yeah, that's a 55. Either way, it was an ambulance, so it would have been cool.
Yeah.
55 from American Graffiti. Yep, that's a beautiful car.
Yeah, everybody loves that car.
Who posted? I can't remember who posted the Fiero the other day. Was that JB?
That was JB. Yeah.
With the giant blown engine on it. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, Don's here. One-eyed cat.
Hello, Don.
No, yeah, that's signal. The beauty of the old Pontiac engines. They can pull. You put those in something, they're going to have plenty of torque.
I was having a conversation with a guy today. He's got a square body Chevy that has a 455 Pontiac in it.
Oh, I love it.
I said, I bet that thing pulls really well because of that Pontiac torque.
Yeah, I need that engine. I need that whole truck, I think.
Yeah, that would be really cool. It would pull better than the old small block Chevy. I guarantee you that much.
For sure. Oh, let's see. We left off. We were talking about 57s. We got a little distracted by the Chevys, but that was the year that they upsized to the 347 cubic inch V8. A couple of them, a few, came with Tri-Power, but really those were really restricted on who those went out to. And most of those 1957 models were priced in the mid-2000 range.
Which is probably higher than the Chevys, if I had to guess.
For sure. Yep.
It seems
that's their selling point for the Chevy is, you can get this car or you can get this one a little less.
It seems like the Buick, Olds, and Pontiac was always more lush than the Chevys, more gadgets. They if you look at the interior picture of the 55, 56, 57 Pontiac, there's way more gauges and chrome and all the higher end stuff.
I feel bad because I meant to put that photo in too, because I've got a couple of them.
I think you could even get a hot dog maker in the glove box of one or something. I don't know.
Here, let me do this real quick. I can.
Don't crash the show. That's what I would do.
I won't crash the show. There we go.
Yeah, look at that.
That's beautiful. And if I go back to here, look at that.
Look at them seats, man.
That's cushy, man. It's like your grandma's couch.
You could put 10 people in there to go to the drive-in theater and like another 10 in the trunk.
Let's say you got the trunk too.
Yeah, Nathan's Mopar said record player. I was reading about that and I was thinking, man,
I've seen one before. I've been to a car show and they had a record player.
They didn't have that great of roads, you know. Oh, we still don't, but
right.
Could you imagine? You remember the CD skipping? Can you imagine trying to have a record player?
I think they were meant to be used kind of like the cup holders in the glove box when you're parked.
Right. Yeah, out on Lover's Lane, got the record, the old 45 playing, you know.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So, Ari made it in. Welcome, Ari. Dr. Art made it in. Thanks, guys, for dropping in. We're talking Tri-5 Pontiacs.
So Ari's he's really well versed in those old 50s cars. He has a pretty vast knowledge of that stuff. I'm pretty impressed with his.
Yep. Ari's an awesome dude.
I'll be honest with everybody. I'm like after 1960 or before 1960, my knowledge of those cars is, I mean, I know what they are and stuff, but like I've never was really into them, so I didn't study them that much. I know the Chevys because you go to every car show and there's a 55, 56, 57 Chevy Bel Air there, you know.
Finally gets to partake in Pontiac Power Hour. Well, we appreciate you coming in, Ari.
I think it's like 10:30 there. He's in California, right?
Yeah, in the morning. He's just waking up.
He's way past my bedtime. Or he doesn't like it. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Hey, that's okay. We like them all.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Mm-mm. So, well, let's see. Where were we? Yep. The cars were awesome. They were well appointed. They had a smooth ride. Still had the kingpins in the front suspension. You get some wide white walls.
I meant to send you a picture I found. It was a 56 Pontiac Gasser.
Oh, yeah.
It had the old spun aluminum tank in the grill. Man, that thing was so cool. I was like, man, I kind of need to find one of those now. I've never driven a Gasser. I feel like it's probably scary, but I mean, I would.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I learned reading through all these articles is you could get in 55 on your Pontiac, you get the spin-on oil filter. It was standard on your 55 Pontiac. And yet it wasn't standard on a Chevrolet until 56. And Pontiac also had a large black air box on the firewall for bringing in fresh air to the cab. Chevy hadn't had that. So Pontiac was just that one step ahead along the way.
Have you ever messed with one of those oil bath breathers?
I've seen them, yes. I haven't done a lot with them because I haven't owned one.
Oh, my gosh. Talk about nasty.
Hello, Wendy. Thanks for coming.
My first vehicle was a 62 Chevy short bed, and the 6-cylinder in it also had the canister oil filter. So you had to take the canister off to get the oil, and there was no way to do it without making a freaking mess.
Let's see. I saw Sean pop in here.
What? What are you smoking, Hunter?
All right, Sean. He says he loves Pontiac so much he owned a Pontiac Firefly 3-cylinder. Oh, that's not it. Let me find it. Hold on.
I don't even know if I consider that a Pontiac. That's one of them 80s things that we had a show on.
There you go.
Okay, that's a Chevy Sprint with Pontiac badges. That's cool.
Come on. That's dedication to Pontiac right there. Well, welcome, Sean. We appreciate having you on, buddy.
Please tell me it had the turbo 3-cylinder.
It had a 3-cylinder, he said.
Yeah. Some of them had a turbo. Man,
that would be cool.
It's actually a Suzuki, if anybody knows those cars.
Yeah, it looked like one. He still has the canister oil filter on his 283. There you go.
Oh, man.
And mongrels, it's amazing how many bugs end up in the oil bath. They're fine. They're just resting. It's good for them. Just don't change the oil.
Most of those old ones you don't have to. You just add a quart every couple hundred miles and you're good to go.
It's Suzuki, or as Danny Boy says, Suzuki. Yep. Yes, and you can't beat the Firebird wheels. I think that was just a clincher for me.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I got to unshare my screen. Don't end the show.
That only happens when I do stuff like that, buddy.
Yeah, no, we're good. Ooh, Rick Hurt. Hello, Rick Hurt. Welcome to the show. LT4 showed up the other day. Now I have dry sump parts in my kitchen. I mean, depends on where you're at, Rick. I'll help you. I got wrenches.
Let me know, brother.
I know a dude.
The Triumph from. He gave me the Triumph.
Oh, okay. So he's closer to you.
Yeah. He's got.
I know a dude with wrenches, and he's not that far away.
Dude,
I'm sure he's.
wrenches.
Yeah, I'm sure he has plenty of time to come down here and help us.
Oh man.
All right. So, how many Pontiacs do you think were produced in 1955? This is not trivia time, but I was shocked. And it goes back to what Dudes was saying about the Chevys.
I think it's 20-some thousand.
All Pontiacs.
Oh, all Pontiacs.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know.
I'm trying to see. All right. So oh, there we go. There we go. So in 1955, in the Chevrolets, all Chevrolet cars, they made 1,776,652. Pontiac in 1955, all 1955 Pontiac cars, they made 581,860. I mean,
so just a drop in the bucket.
Just a third of what Chevy built, and that goes to just, add into that. Yeah, that's why everybody recognizes the Chevy, because there's 3 times the amount.
Right.
There's a lot of cars in 1955. Hello, Tommy. Welcome to the show.
This guy's speaking my language.
Yeah, he is. And our old friend Chucky showed up.
So,
Yep,
Tommy,
like
I
you
don't know if
said.
you've seen my page, but I too have a Le Mans. Mine's a 71.
I mean, he's on your page now. So when this show's over, just link on over to check out his Le Mans. But also tonight, don't forget Irish Outlaw Garage, as always, is hosting the Cars and Cussin live show about 9:15. So right after we're done here. Which reminds me, we should probably take a 2-second break here. Hold on 1 second. I try never to forget this. I see it creeping up on us.
Scared me. I thought something crashed. I was like, what happened?
I try not to crash the show. Tommy Seabrook, hello. And welcome, guys, to, as usual, our Pontiac trivia sponsored by Super Clean. And, somebody in our chat tonight is going to win a Super Clean prize pack coming directly to you from Super Clean, not from us. But that's how they sponsor this show, as they send out something to one of you guys. And just, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. And Jay says he's almost home, so we wish him the best on getting home. All right. So as usual, I'm going to ask you some questions, guys, and it is your job to answer in the chat which one you think it is, and then we find out what the truth is. So we're talking Tri-5 Pontiacs here. And Dan has already won one there, Sand Mountain Ballistics. All right. What TV show regularly featured a 1955 Star Chief convertible on the TV show? You guys know this one? Is it A, Alfred Hitchcock, B, The Honeymooners, C, I Love Lucy, or D, The Little Rascals?
Man, we got a lot of C's.
Yeah, we do. Hello, Stephen. Welcome to the show.
I'll be honest with you. If I wouldn't have read it, I wouldn't have known it, because these shows was all before my time.
I honestly would have probably guessed Alfred Hitchcock. It's just because I remember watching that show when I was a kid. I mean it was reruns, obviously, but I'm not very old. I got told today that I looked a certain age, and was like, well, that's almost my daughter's age. So I'm pretty sure I'm older than that. All right. So a lot of people are saying I Love Lucy. We got a few folks picking some others here. So let's take a look. It was I Love Lucy. So the 1923 Cadillac was seen, but on the special episode 1955 Pontiac, they drove to California, and it became one of the biggest props used on the show. And it was actually sponsored by Pontiac. So they got themselves a free 1955 Pontiac convertible. Now, those cars were hooked up to cables and towed because they were all on soundstage. So they couldn't actually drive them.
They did some cool camera stuff back then. I've seen pictures of, like, when they filmed Smokey and the Bandit, all the cameras mounted to that car.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, me too, Danny Boyd. I obviously caught the reruns, but I do remember this car, and I always thought it was really cool. They were driving around in a convertible. Yep. Everybody see, you can look in the photo. I can't point it out, but there is a cable running underneath the front of that car, and it just goes to prove the point that those cars were towed through the stage.
Okay, not gonna lie, I tried to point with my
with your mouse.
With my mouse,
doesn't work.
Everybody can see that.
Yep, I'm pointing this way. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Oh my goodness!
All right. What was the rarest Pontiac produced in 1955? Come on, Pontiac people. You got to know this one. Hey, welcome, Mopars, Mustang, and Minivans. All right. Was it the Star Chief Custom? Was it B, the Star Chief Safari Wagon? Was it C, the Chieftain 860 Special? Or D, the Chieftain 870 Deluxe Catalina?
That sounds cool.
They had a bunch of different versions. And the whole point was this post-war era, people wanted options. They didn't want to all just buy the same cookie cutter car. And so they had a lot of options. You couldn't just get the old LT or the LS package. You had to get the full name with it. Wow, they're everywhere. We've got C and B and D and B and more B's.
Come on, Ari. Where's your answer? Oh, there he is. Okay. I'm just curious.
Oh, where was his answer? I missed it.
Ari says B.
Oh, we'll go with B. All right. Sean's Garage says wagon for 500, Alex. Yep. Later, Logan. Thanks for coming, buddy. So many trim packages. I think as you bought the car, they would come down the line and they would just stick another badge on it as it went. Do you want a nicer car? Let's add another little badge on there.
Well, they did that like every trim option. If you added that trim option, then you had that name with it too.
Right. I love this. Ari's just coming in with the knowledge. He drove the Safari because it's the only car he could sit in and still wear his cowboy hat. I love that. Well, let's see what the answer is, guys. It was B, the Star Chief Safari Wagon.
I want that so bad.
Obviously, it looks very similar to a Nomad. Similar bodies, but very different styling. And it was the rarest Pontiac produced in 1955 with only 3,760 cars. Now, the question is, how many of those survived? I like that. Cowboy clearance. Yep. And John Wayne approved. All right. Next question. In 1955, the Star Chief came with a 287 engine and had a top speed of what? Think about 1955, guys. Not what did they modify it to do, what is it capable of, but what did they originally come out with? Was it A, 70 miles an hour, B, 79 miles an hour, C, 88 miles an hour, or D, 90 miles an hour?
So if you hit 88 miles an hour in that Star Chief, did you go back to in time?
Was DeLorean there at the time?
That was before DeLorean.
Yeah, I think because it's before DeLorean, it didn't have that, flux capacitor installed from the factory. You can get it at O'Reilly's.
Yeah, I actually looked it up when I worked there.
I asked somebody one time at O'Reilly's and he looked at me funny. I'm like, no, go now and type it in. And it popped up.
Somebody has a sense of humor in the O'Reilly's chain.
That gives me faith in humanity. You can go to O'Reilly's and order a flux capacitor. Mexican Spec, hello. All right, we got answers all over the board. We got B and C and D. Quite a bit of D's here. Danny Boyd says 88 or 90. I'm with you right there, but it's got to be close. And we're talking carbs.
We got Miss Square Body in the house.
Whoa. Welcome, Miss Square Body. Thanks for joining us. And the answer is 90. Even though that speedometer goes up way over 90, those cars from the factory with a 287 topped out at 90 miles an hour. I'm sure if you got her downhill with a tailwind, you could probably get it up over that, but they weren't originally set up to go any faster than 90. But you do a little tweaking of your own, put some Tri-Power in there. I bet you could get her over 90.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Okay. This one I think is it surprised me. I'll say that. Not knowing really what cars cost back in the day. Because most of these Pontiacs were in the 2000 range. All right. So, what was the price for a Star Chief custom Bonneville convertible in 1957? Was it A, $2,975, B, $3,480, C, $5,780, which just seems unfathomable to me, D, $6,250, which is also just really, we're going to be at double the price of a regular car?
That's crazy. The Star Chief Custom Bonneville convertible.
Just badge, 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 badge. Oh, we're going to lose the top. There you go. Perfect. They say top goes down, price goes up, right? I'm buying less car, and yet it's going to cost more. All right. So let's see. We've got D, B, C, B, C, C. Danny Boyd, top of the line. That they were. Mexican Spec knows Bonneville was a special car that year. He knew a guy with a blue and white one. That is true. That was a very special car that year.
Danny
Everybody
Boyd
says C.
This
Danny
is
Boyd's
a family show.
He's trying to get us demonetized.
It's a family show, sir.
We have Miss Squarebody in the house. We have to be on our best behavior. She brings all the best coffee.
If you look back at some of the ads from the 50s and Pontiac, there were some pretty sexist ads then.
Yeah, and think about the Mopar ads for the 60s and 70s. Those were, yeah, special. Rich Corinthian leather. Ari likes the 60 Bonneville. Well, we're not quite in the 60s, but yes, they are pretty awesome. Okay, so the answer is C. Believe it or not, almost double the price of a regular Pontiac. These models were priced, the regular cars were priced in the 2000 range, where this one tipped the scales at $5,780. The next closest price point to this car was the Star Chief Custom Line Catalina hardtop sedan, priced at $2,975. Crazy.
Hunter, that is the ad I was thinking of, actually.
Yeah. Oh, and then they had the Star Chief custom four-door station wagon we talked about. That one was priced at $3,480. So you got more car, so that makes sense that it's more than the regular price. But then you get the convertible, which is less car, and it's almost double. It's just crazy. Yeah. Dakota wants to see the borderline comment. Are you not reading the comments? There you go. You can read it for a minute. It's because it got warm, and so she had to put on shorts. That's what that's about.
I mean, yeah. So you're in a convertible, especially if you're in traffic. I mean,
yeah. Grandpa paid about the same for his house in 1957 in Niagara Falls, Ontario. That's awesome. Oh, here you go. Get you a Broham for $12,000. But hey, it's Cadillac. And LNA's true. That 55 convertible was so popular because of the I Love Lucy show. That was the perfect thing for Pontiac to place that car in that show, because everybody watched I Love Lucy and everybody wanted that convertible.
So Pontiac seemed to have done that a time or two,
Putting a car in a TV show?
Yeah, put a car in a movie or TV show, and then sales.
And then they watch it go up.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all the trivia we got for tonight, guys. I just kind of kept it short and sweet. And we want to thank everybody for participating. We appreciate all of you in the chat, and of course, Super Clean for sponsoring it. With that, I guess, gosh, who needs a power or a Super Clean pack? Had a lot of great answers tonight. Well, Stephen S. Paul, send me your info to buffsgarage@gmail.com. Just send it on over. Give me your address, and I will send you out a Super Clean prize pack for joining the show tonight. Thanks for being on.
I would love to spend $5,000 on a 70 Pontiac GTO Judge convertible.
Same.
I don't even think you can buy fender NOS fender for one.
Jay says it's going to be a little late. I don't know if you had a backup plan, Jay. We had talked about it. I'm available to help out if you need me to help. What about 71 eyebrow logo on a 69 Le Mans? That's foreign language to me. What's he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jay, you're the Le Mans guy.
Well, have you seen mine? It has no badges.
It has badges. It's got a big Punisher badge on it.
The first thing I did was take all the trim off of it and fill all the holes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's all right, Ari. We still love you and we appreciate you coming in. The whole point of the trivia is for those that do know, it's fun to get it right. But for all of us that really don't know, it's kind of cool to learn. I've learned so much building these trivia that stuff I would have never known. There you go. Hunter wants to know.
I welded them.
But you are a welder by trade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's different than saying I welded them, which I would do, except for me, when I go to fill the hole, I just make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, see, the trick is turn your heat down low, use a brass or copper backer. You can use aluminum, but brass or copper is the best. And you just tack, grind, got a little pinhole, tack.
Yep.
Don't get it too hot, don't warp it. And
I think that's my problem is I forget to turn down the old heat and it just goes boom, big hole.
and you can't when you're grinding it, you got to be careful too.
Either way you're grinding it, you're not wrong. However,
right.
Yeah,
well,
you don't want to go crazy with it. Either way, it's going to probably get a skim coat. But we're not just straight bondoing over holes. Because every time it heats up or gets cold, it goes pop like a turkey timer.
Oh, okay. I see what he's talking about. So he said 71 GTO stripes on fender.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
So I don't know if you've ever. Well, your 63 Pontiac should have real thick metal on it.
It does. Except, in the back, it's got like really thin. It's mostly Russ holding hands back there. But everywhere else, it is very, very well built.
So I've worked on a few old cars like 40s and 50s for people. Man, you can really weld the body on those. Like my Le Mans, you can definitely tell like in the 70s that they was trying to make them lighter. The metal got thinner because I think it's like 16 gauge. It's pretty thin. You can't really weld on it too much.
Well, I know on the thin spots on the back of mine, it didn't take much to burn right through it. So I turned the heat down and such, and it really didn't matter. It just wasn't going to weld. But, all the metal from the back fenders forward, you could hit it with the arc welder all day long, and you're just burning all day. You're fine. And that's a 37 Pontiac. Hunter, we have to see these other cars show up to an event before you go buy another one. No, I'm just kidding. I have 9 cars. What am I talking about? Enduro was available on regular Le Mans in 71 or 72 or both.
Yes.
71 stripe GTO and a 69.
And in 72, GTO was an option. It actually wasn't a standalone thing they went back to.
That's right.
So a 72 GTO is actually really rare. And those hoods on the 71 72s are hard to find, and they're expensive when you find them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my problem. I have to stay off marketplace or I will spend all my money. Mongrels has a 38 Pontiac.
Oh, just got to drive to Canada to get it.
Or he's got to drive to here. I don't think that'd be a fun drive in a 38.
No.
Where's your pioneering spirit?
I'll say that depends on the 38. We talking like a street rod or are we talking like original?
And look at that, Danny Boyd. Didn't realize they were different from the 70 hood.
Yep. 71, 72 are that year only hood for the GTO. Actually, the Le Mans too.
Sean's garage, he carried one of them hoods home drunk one night. And yes, 38 POS, 9. I had 8. And now I have 9 sitting in the yard. But the last 2 were free, so the price is right.
Yeah, but that last free one's going to cost you a bunch of money.
It already has. The last free one, we're putting head gaskets in. It went from, it might need a tune-up with new plugs to we're putting in head gaskets. So Mongrel says he'll drive it down. He's going to drive it down one of these years. I want to be there for that.
Danny Boyd, just a little history here. The 1970 from the doors back is the same as the 71, 72. However, the fenders are completely different, and it takes a 69 hood with the 70 GTO nose.
So what year is the Le Mans and the Night of the Living Dead? That's a good one.
I saw one on Walker, Texas Ranger the other day.
Cool.
I paused. I was like, hey, look, there's a Le Mans. My wife's like, okay, can we just watch the show? Sorry.
Mongrels has 30 in his yard. Yeah, well, show off. And
we're over time.
We are over time. So, guys, I don't want to keep us much longer. I know Jay was going to be a little late on his, but make sure to check out our videos. I'm at Buff's Garage, Ray's at Punisher Le Mans Garage, which you're at right now. So take a few minutes, check out our videos, and then head over to Irish Outlaw Garage and go get some Cars and Cussing Live going. It's always a great show, but we thank you guys for watching, and we're going to see you next week.
And one more thing. If you're new to the show, Buff and myself both, we have all the old Power Hours in a playlist by themselves. I don't know if you do. I do.
No, I do. They're all in order from episode 1 down.
So you got to go back and forth. Like one's on his, two's on but they're all on there and they're all in a row. So if you want to go
all
check
our
out
shows,
Power Hours.
Yep, all the history, all the trivia, and all the guests. They're all there. We welcome you to check them out. And as always, come back next week because we got another one coming.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.